When you think of Jack Kerouac or Allen Ginsberg or others of the Beat generation, you probably don't think of St. Louis. But there was a strong St. Louis connection to the Beats, and a play that was recently revived here on Washington Avenue at the Art Loft Theater tells the story.
Man, we're beat. Too hung up to care.
Nothing's cool in front. Everything is square.
Here comes Brad. Welcome to the scene. What's shaking, Dad, with your magazine?
In the late 1940s and the 1950s, the members of the Beat generation delivered a searing critique of American culture. They were rebelling against an America that they saw as blind to its own faults, and they set about slaying its sacred cows. At the time, a young St. Louisan named Jay Landesman was living in New York. He published the Beats in a literary magazine called Neurotica, and for a while, he was at the very center of Beat culture.
Jack Kerouac and Allen Ginsberg had been buddies since the middle 1940s, but here we are in 1950, and Jay Landesman, who was from St. Louis, had just moved to New York. He was running a literary magazine called Neurotica, and he started publishing these guys and a bunch of other people that had never been published. And his magazine became really famous, and some of the writers started becoming very famous, and I think it was soon after that that Kerouac wrote On the Road, which was, his big breakout novel.
Did I hurt you?
Hurt her? Me? I'm hurt. How come you didn't publish that story I sent you?
You mean that epic? A nice girl named Larry? America just wasn't ready for it.
Brad publishes nerves.
Hey, that's a nice smile. Do it again. Nice teeth, too.
I read your magazine.
Regularly.
Both issues.
Well, you and the post office. Circulation is building.
Yeah, well, publish my stories and I'll read it too.
After World War II, there was this incredible building of wealth, and with it this intense materialism. And in a way, it was a wonderful time in America. Everybody had everything they wanted, kind of. But in a way, it was also a terrible time because they were kind of forgetting about feeding the soul. They were buying houses and cars and TVs, but there was no substance to their lives.
You missed a big scene.
You forgot I have a job.
Yeah, that job is beginning to interfere with our fun life.
If I didn't have it, I'd just be in the way around here. What would I do? Sit around all day and watch the parade of creeps pass through that door?
Those are not creeps, my dear. They're the contacts with the heartbeat of a nation in decay.
That's right, ma'am.
And that's what the Beats were really unhappy about. They felt very disconnected and very discontented, and they felt like the world was kind of falling apart, and that spiritually America was dying.
Sing a song of sad young men, glasses full of rye. All the news is bad again, kiss your dreams goodbye.
But they were very sad people in a lot of ways, and a lot of them had very serious addiction problems, and a lot of them really didn't like their lives and didn't like themselves.
I feel left out. All of your friends all crowding in, and they hate everything so. And the magazine, it's so negative, and that Yogi is so destructive, and you, even you, I thought it was exciting at first.
Yeah, it was exciting at first.
Landesman met his wife, Fran, in New York. And for both of them, the bohemian culture soon became destructive. As Jay Landesman would later put it, you couldn't stay married and make it in New York. So they moved back to his hometown, and Jay and his brother opened a club called the Crystal Palace. before long, the Crystal Palace would be the center of culture in Gaslight Square.
It was quite the place to go. It was sophisticated, hip, interesting place. And I almost said sort of not like St. Louis, but that is a problem we have here of putting down, what really exists here. It's just a question of someone to choreograph it, and that's what Jay Landesman and Fred Landesman and their brother Gene and their wives all did.
Gaslight Square was the coolest place in St. Louis, and the Crystal Palace was its beating heart. The Nervous Set debuted at the Crystal Palace in 1959 in what had become a cultural mecca. The play tied Jay Landesman's autobiography to the songs of his wife Fran and composer Tommy Wolfe.
They started doing the show, and at the same time, other people started recording Tommy and Fran's songs. And there was a couple at the time, Jackie and Roy, I think, who were really famous music performers. And they were recording some of Tommy and Fran's songs, and they were becoming, some of them, standards. Most notably, the big ballad of the show, Spring Can Really Hang You Up the Most, is a major jazz standard. Like every jazz musician in the world knows this song.
His wings, trees and flowers, and to them I'd like to drink a toast. I walk in the park, just a few lonely hours. Spring can really hang you up the most. All afternoon.
Today, the Beats are little more than pop culture icons. Here at Tangerine on Washington Avenue, you can order a clever Kerouac cocktail. That would be a dry Manhattan. But in the 1950s, the Beats had a serious cultural message, and it went beyond apathy or angst.
And I've decided that spring is aboard. Love seems sure around.
It was incredibly important to me that the show wasn't laughing at the beats, that we weren't winking at the audience, look how funny these wacky old beats were. I wanted to be respectful and honest about who these people were, and in this case they had a lot of warts and a lot of contradictions, but I wanted to be real about them and let them speak rather than me commenting on them. And I think we've done that. I think we've done a good job of that.